The Ylthari fleet descended on Cygni Prime like a pack of predators that had grown bored of the chase. Their armada of crescent-shaped warships hung over the human colony world, blotting out the morning sun. Thousands of civilians watched from the cities below as the alien ships shimmered with pale blue energy. Their leader, High Marshal Corvin, addressed the planet from orbit. His voice, broadcast on all frequencies, was dripping with disdain. To the Terrans of Cygni Prime, your presence here violates the Accord. You were told this system is under Ylthari jurisdiction. You were warned. Now you will serve as an example to your kind. The translation drones struggled to keep pace with the aliens' guttural tone. It didn't matter. The intent was clear enough. The first salvo hit the colony's defense grid. Shield stations flared briefly, then went dark. The second wave erased the orbital docks, the civilian transports, the surface ports. In under 7 minutes, Cygni Prime, population 300,000, was ash and glass. Corvin watched the destruction from the bridge of his flagship, Vengeance's Grace. His second-in-command, a pale, four-eyed officer named Ver, gave a satisfied growl. Pathetic. These humans build their colonies on sand and call it empire. Corvin smirked. Empire? No, they are children pretending at strength. Let them see what true power looks like. Let them laugh at their weakness now. The fleet turned away, leaving the charred remains of the colonies smoldering below. Cygni Prime's distress calls were brief, desperate, and unanswered, because Earth was listening, silently, and Earth never answered right away. Mockery in the void for weeks. The Ylthari Council reveled in their triumph. The footage of the bombardment was broadcast across their territories, sold as entertainment, a reminder to every species of who ruled the frontier. At diplomatic sessions, the Ylthari delegates sneered when humans were mentioned. They mocked the soft-skinned traders of Sol, the ape empire that plays at civilization. They will protest, one ambassador joked, his translucent frill fluttering. They will send letters. Perhaps they will file a sanction, another replied to raucous laughter. Corvin was decorated for his swift enforcement of order. He accepted the honor with pride. To him, humanity's silence was proof of weakness. But among the stars, whispers began to spread. The merchants of the Velt Syndicate noticed human convoys vanish from the common trade lanes. Their colonies went dark. No distress signals, no comm chatter. The humans weren't retreating. They were withdrawing, and the few who dealt with Earth's fleets before felt unease crawl through their blood. Because history remembered, a century ago, when the Zrath Collective had wiped out a Terran research outpost, Earth hadn't declared war. It had simply appeared. 30 Zrath worlds had gone silent within a week. No one ever found out how. No one ever asked again. The quiet before the storm, 2 months passed. Then 3. The galaxy moved on. The Ylthari Council, confident in their dominance, turned their attention elsewhere. Border disputes, trade tariffs, ceremonial wars, until one night, in the capital world of Calthar Prime, the stars changed. Every orbital sensor lit up at once. Unidentified energy readings. Mass shadows, dozens, hundreds, thousands. Impossible, muttered the sensor chief. That's hundreds of fleets. And then the first transmission came through. A voice. Calm, clear, unmistakably human. To the Ylthari Council. You destroyed 300,000 civilians on Cygni Prime. You called it order. You called it enforcement. We call it murder. Earth is not laughing. Earth is coming. Then the signal cut. The Ylthari networks went into chaos. Every military command scrambled their fleets, calling the report a bluff. No species could mobilize that fast. No power could assemble a multi-system strike force in such silence. But when the outer colonies began reporting incoming ships bearing no transponder codes, only a single glowing sigil, panic erupted. It was the emblem of Earth, a blue sphere wreathed in fire. The day the sky turned black, when the Terran Expeditionary Fleet entered Ylthari space, it did so without a single warning shot. The leading vessels, massive constructs of black metal and crimson light, bore names whispered from humanity's darkest history. Auschwitz's memory, Rwanda's promise, Cygni's vow. The Ylthari tried to broadcast parley signals. The humans did not respond. They began at the edges of Ylthari territory, mining colonies, border fortresses, outposts. Each one vanished under kinetic bombardment and plasma rain. No survivors, no prisoners. When the Ylthari Navy finally engaged, they discovered the meaning of asymmetrical retribution. Human warships were smaller, but faster. Their weapons didn't arc or pulse, they ripped. Coherent singularity rounds tore through shield harmonics the Ylthari had believed unbreakable. Nuclear lattice missiles shattered dreadnoughts in silence, and where the humans deployed ground forces, the horror deepened. The Terran Marines, armored in void black composites, didn't speak. They didn't broadcast demands or taunts. They descended from orbit like falling stars, struck and vanished. Every captured world was left in eerie silence, its cities empty, its atmosphere heavy with static. Within 3 days, 15 Ylthari systems were gone. The Laughter Dies High Marshal Corvin's flagship, Vengeance's Grace, attempted to coordinate a counterattack at the Nabor line. 120 Ylthari vessels waited there, the largest defensive array ever assembled. When the Terran fleet emerged from hyperspace, the Ylthari laughed. Their laughter didn't last, because the Terran ships didn't fire first. Instead, they opened. Panels unfolded from their hulls, releasing clouds of drones, millions of them. Each one carried the signature of a self-replicating combat AI. The Ylthari weapon systems went haywire as the drones hacked, jammed, and overwhelmed everything electronic. Then the human fleet fired. The Nabor line didn't just break, it ceased. The entire sector glowed red with the heat of dying stars as reactors detonated in chain reactions. Corvin's last words were recorded on the dying bridge. They were supposed to be weak. Then the flagship disintegrated. The laughter that once filled Ylthari halls was replaced by static and screams. The Terran answer. The humans didn't occupy Ylthari space. They didn't claim resources or demand reparations. They came to erase. Every world that had celebrated the massacre at Cine Prime was methodically purged. Orbital strikes left symmetrical craters. Entire cities reduced to outlines of ash. The Terran fleet moved with eerie precision, system by system, leaving behind nothing but cold silence and broken orbitals, and still, the galaxy watched. Empires that had once mocked humanity now sealed their borders, sending frantic transmissions, offers of alliance, apologies, pleas for peace. None were answered. Across the networks, a phrase began to circulate. No one knew who said it first. The humans don't make threats, they make examples. And this time, the example was a civilization. The eclipse of Calthar. The last Ylthari world, Calthar Prime, waited for salvation that never came. The sky was filled with Terran dreadnoughts. Each one hung silently above the atmosphere like a judgment made manifest. The Terran commander, Admiral Sarah Holt, stood before her bridge crew. Her voice was calm. This is the origin of the order that burned Cygni. Prime, the world that laughed. She raised her hand, erased their laughter. The bombardment began. Not a chaotic hail of fire, but a measured, deliberate sequence. Every government complex, military base, and communication tower vanished in perfect synchronization. Then came the final act. The human fleet repositioned itself in orbit and unleashed a gravitational pulse, a controlled singularity detonation. The very crust of Calthar Prime cracked open like an egg. The oceans boiled. The sky folded inward. When the pulse cleared, the planet was gone. Only a smoldering ring of debris remained. The Terran fleet turned away. Their mission was done. Aftermath in the aftermath, the galaxy fell silent. Trade routes that once teemed with Ylthari ships now drifted empty. Their empire, once spanning 50 systems, was a graveyard of dust and static. When the first Terran transmission returned to the Galactic Council, it was a simple message. Justice has been delivered. Let all who listen remember, Earth laughs last. The council chambers, once filled with condescension toward the humans, sat in stunned quiet. The delegates who had mocked Earth avoided even speaking the planet's name. Rumors spread that entire systems were choosing to erase their records of contact with humanity, hoping to avoid drawing attention. And when Terran diplomats finally reappeared, no one dared question them. No one mentioned Cygni Prime. No one even smiled. The whispered warning decades later. Spacer crews still tell the story of what happened to the Ylthari. They say if you listen to the static in deep space, you can hear echoes of that final message. Earth's voice cutting through the void. Some call it myth. Some call it history. But every captain, every admiral, every ruler knows the truth. Humanity is patient. Humanity is quiet. Until it isn't. Because the species that once laughed at the stars learned to laugh at death itself. And when the galaxy laughed at Earth, Earth laughed last. Earth laughed forever.